Years later, does Disney's Sorcerer's Arena still hold the magic for families? Let's take a closer look. Disney Sorcerer's Arena is a 2 to 4 player game where you're either going to be playing 1 versus 1 or a team game 2 versus 2. You're going to be able to draft your characters and then get your cards all shuffled up together, playing different cards from your hand and strategically trying to race to 20 points. The story? In this strategic skirmish game, you will play as a summoner, forming an alliance of heroes and villains from throughout the Disney and Pixar universe. Your team of characters will use a wide range of abilities in an effort to knock out rivals and score victory points. Have more victory points when the last turn ends and you'll win the game. It's a contest of magic, muscle, and wits, and only one summoner will triumph in the arena. Can you assemble a team that will outmatch your rivals to win it all? How can you be the triumphant summoner? Let's head to the rules rundown to find out. Come on. Alright, so here we have Sorcerer's Arena set up for 2 players. Over here I've got the red team set up down here, but this is how it will look on the board as well as up here with the turn tracker if you have 2 players playing. Now when you're setting up, you get to draft your players. You'll be able to take the cards after you draft. Each individual character has their own 10 cards, which you'll shuffle up, and then you'll draw from them, and you can see here, you can tell which character card you're dealing with based on their character icon as well as the name of the character up above it right there. You'll also take your character tokens over here. You'll choose what order you want to fire off your characters. Here is the initiative for your character, so that's 16. The lowest one goes first. If I choose Aladdin to go first, he would get 16. The opponent, looks like they chose Dr. Facilier to go first. So he's got an 82, which means red is going to go first this game. After that, it just goes every other, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, until the end of the round. Now, how the turns work here in Sorcerer's Arena is you're going to first check for status effects, which are these guys right over here, if you have them on any of your characters. And the victory point spaces, which are these guys over here. If I have Aladdin on that victory point space, then at the start of the turn, I would get 1 victory point for that. After you check those out, you'll then return active KO'd character to the arena. If Aladdin had been knocked out, comes back to his turn, that would be the time I get to place him back out, and then I'd be able to place him on either space, either side, with these star tiles. After that, you draw 1 card, which for whatever reason, I have the worst time remembering to do that, but you draw 1 card at the start of every turn. Then you do your movement, action, and skill phases, which are these guys down here. And you can do these in any order. For the movement phase, you get to choose 1 of these actions, which would be your standard movement, which you can see down here on your character cards. You've got your standard movement listed here, standard action. Generally it's 2 and 2, but you can see here Aladdin has a standard move of 3, so you can see that that might vary from character to character. These are the skills that are listed, which again you can perform once each turn in any order. Now for the standard movement, if you would like, you can discard a movement card in order to raise the standard of movement by 1. Any cards that have this would be a movement cards, or instead of performing the standard movement, I could play this card for my movement phase since it has that move action. Then you have the action phase, which again you can either use the standard attack value listed on your card, or you can play one of the cards in your hand that has that action phase icon, and you can do that for your action. If you would like to use the standard attack, you can also discard any card that has a sword icon, and then that would raise that standard attack by 1. After you performed 1 each of the movement or action phase, done the skills that you would like to, you then discard down to your maximum hand limit, which your hand limit might vary. If you look at your character cards down here, these will tell you what your hand limit is. Generally it's going to be 2 per character, but you'll see Gaston here, he only lets you hold 1. So the maximum hand limit for my team this game would be 5. Then as soon as you've done that, you've discarded down to your hand limit. Something that you can do at any time on your turn is upgrade your characters down here. So each of the character has a couple of card types down here, where if you have those in your discarded pile, then you'll be able to banish those cards, remove them completely from the game, and then you'll be able to upgrade your character. Upgraded characters have new abilities down here that you can use throughout the game. In order to know what card types you have, you just look down here in the bottom corner of your card. Once your turn's over, you're just going to go ahead and slide these guys down, and then the next player will work through all of those steps, with your main goal being to earn 20 victory points. You're going to do that again by either getting on these victory point spaces, getting one every time it comes back around, but the best way to earn victory points is to knock out your opponents. You're going to do this by playing various cards, attacking them, and once you take a character's health, which for Dr. Facilier, you can see here he's got a health of 7. Once they get all the way down to 0, they would be considered knocked out. These character cards will show you how many victory points the opponent is going to get for knocking your character out. So if Aladdin gets knocked out, they'll get 6. Sorcerer, for instance, Mickey gets knocked out, they're going to get 4 victory points. Now, once a player gets up to 20 victory points, we still finish out the rounds. I'm right at 20, and they were able to get up to 22 points, then they would actually be able to win. The only other thing to talk about are going to be the status effect markers based on various cards that might get played. For instance, Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, he might play this card, which allows them to gain 2 magic broom. So what you're going to do is they'll come over here, they'll take the magic broom, place that right there over his character, and then he's going to take 2 of these counters and place those on that status effect, which means those are going to last for a couple of rounds, unless of course another player plays a card to take those away or adds more on. And what's going to go down is once it gets to Mickey's turn, when you check status effects, you take one of those off each time it comes back to your turn. And that's how those status effects work. That's the gist of how you play Disney's Sorcerer's Arena. Now that you have a general idea of how to play Disney's Sorcerer's Arena, let's get into the good, the bad, and the biblical. This is a section where I tell you the things I enjoy about a game, things I didn't enjoy so much, as well as a parental guide of sorts where I'll let you know if there's anything that's not family friendly or Christ glorifying. Starting out with the good and the components, I love the acrylic standees that came in the game. That's just a really great alternative to minis. If you're not going to get a nice mini that you can paint up, give me an acrylic standee. Those things are awesome. The components work really nicely together as far as the turn tracker and being able to place the status effects on those characters, being able to easily tell what everybody has, even those markers that come down. That worked out really well. The board looks nice, very usable, very simple. The components work really well. Card quality is great. You'll notice in the gameplay overview, I actually have my cards sleeved with the card sleeves that they put out for the game, and those are my favorite card sleeves ever. There's just something about them. They shuffle super nicely, but they also have this almost stickiness to them where they're not going to slide around. These are my favorite card sleeves in any game that I've gotten. So those are really great. Now, the components are fine, but we're all here for the gameplay. The gameplay is really simple, which makes it really great. You just have 2 actions that you can take on your turn, but each character has some skills that you can use, which just makes each character feel unique outside of just their deck of cards. So that's just really nice to have those. The turn orders works out really well. The back and forth nature, having that nice track to track whose turn it is, very important, very easy to lose track of whose turn it is, let alone which character is supposed to be going. So that helps a lot. They did a really good job with the status effects, being able to stack up on those. You have some cards that only work for their character. I didn't mention that in the overview, I apologize. You can only use the ones that match the current character's turn. That's the only ones. That helps narrow down the options that you have on your turn, which is kind of helpful so you're not overwhelmed with just a handful of options that you can do. So that's nice. And then it's just simple, trying to knock your opponent out on a very wide open board. There's not a line of sight that you have to deal with. There's not obstacles you have to work around. It's just a straight open field, mano a mano, go and try to take each other out. It just comes down to how well can you manage your cards and manage the controlling that wide open space to be able to manipulate your opponents to get into the spaces that you need them to really activate your powerful cards. And so that's really fun. Going back to the drafting your characters, that's one of my wife and I's favorite moments in this game is, what team am I going for? And the draft feels meaningful in a couple of different ways. Each character has their own deck of cards that makes each character feel very unique. Each character has focus. There's a few that have some long range abilities, which makes them really useful to have out on the board. Some are more used for healing your characters up. Some are big tanks that are going to just take a bunch of hits. And then there are others that are really difficult to play just because their cards are going to be dealing with certain effects. Like Dr. Facilier, his cards are stronger if you're able to manipulate different status effects onto your opponents, which has a really difficult timing element that you have to work with, which is fun in my opinion. It matters which characters you pick as well, since for the upgrades on the characters, the different characters have a different number of symbols for each one. So if you get certain characters that all have the same symbols, all need the same ones to be upgraded, well, you're gonna have a hard time getting all of your characters upgraded. There's a lot of different things that you can be thinking about when you're drafting your characters, what style of team you want, what characters help boost each other, have a good combo together out there. So that's a really cool aspect to this game. And it's nice, there's 8 characters that come in this box, so you're not going to be able to play with all of them. The amount of variety in team compositions is going to be in there, so plenty of replayability with that. I love at the end of the game, if you start that, you're kind of trying to time it to where you hit that 20 points with your last character in the round. Because if you play it and you hit 20 points at the start of the round with your first character, well, then that other team has, the other group or whoever you're playing against, they have till the end of the round to try to match or beat your score. If you match, you got to play a whole nother round. That's really neat, being able to try to time that out a little bit. And my wife and I have both been on either end of that, where we snatch that victory away from each other right at the end of the game. So that's a really fun moment there. That's the gameplay. The theme, I mean, we're huge Disney fans. There's a lot of cool characters in here. Going with Sorcerer's Mickey was kind of neat instead of just base Mickey. So just getting characters like that out there was kind of fun. I do know that this game was based on an app that I'm really unfamiliar with. I think I might have played it once, but I'm not familiar. I can't speak to whether if you've played the app, if you're really going to feel it here. That would be something, if you've played the app and played this game, let me know down in the comments and let others know whether this really matches up with that or not. Hey, thanks for watching this video here on Faith and Board Games. If you're enjoying the content that you are seeing, feel free to hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. It's a free way for you to show support for the channel, and it just helps me be able to produce more of this content for you. Thanks once again for watching here on Faith and Board Games. Let's get back to the video. So that's going to be the good for the gameplay and the theming and the components. Now for the bad. For the components, and I'm going to speak a little bit to the expansions as well. So in here, my Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, it does not stick into its base really well. All the rest of them do great. Sorcerer's Apprentice just doesn't. Anytime you pick him up, and I forget all the time, I'll pick him up and his base gets left. So you've got to move him and the base. And then I don't think I've gotten a single expansion from this where either I had to call to get a replacement base because I got 2 of the same bases. The cards that I got from the expansions were stuck together and like got peeled off, so they had to send replacement cards for those. which I will say the customer service was great, but as you're getting into this, the production of it, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's a little rough. The gameplay, there really isn't anything negative I would say about the gameplay. I really love the way it all comes together with that. So that's the good and the bad. As far as the biblical goes, the Sorcerer's Arena, you're summoning these Disney characters in. You have your Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. You have your Dr. Facilier's out there where you're going to have the magic that's happening in there. But it's that Disney magic, so this is just really where do you draw the line with that. So if that's not something you're interested in, totally get it, totally respect it, but this just isn't going to be the game for you. But other than that, I mean, it's a Disney Pixar game, the very family friendly, otherwise going to have all the characters that you're familiar with. So that's going to do it for the good, the bad, and the biblical. Going into final thoughts on this one, this is one of my wife and I's favorite games. You can check out where we ranked it on our all-time list if you want to check that out after this video. It just really hits a lot of the good points. My wife and I play most games 2-player. This is a great 2-player game. We haven't tried it out with that 2v2 game. I don't know how I would feel about that. That might get a little chaotic out there on the board, having 8 characters instead of just the 6, but that could be interesting. If you've tried it out there, let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed that or not. My wife and I just absolutely love the theme with Disney. We love the card combinations, the combat system, the racing to 20, and just that tacticalness of it. So much fun. This game is a 10 out of 10 for us. Absolutely love it. Love coming back to it. Just thinking about doing this review was kind of like, hey, I'm about to have this game set up. Do we have time? Can we just play it real quick? It's very consistently makes its way to the table for us. And we have the base game itself has a lot of replayability with just the 8 characters in it. And then we have all the other expansions, which adds 3 each. There's a lot of other characters that you can get with it that all add their own unique spin on the characters. I thought they did a great job matching character abilities to the characters themselves. You feel like you're playing Aladdin sneaking around being a street thief. You feel like you are Ariel out in the ocean, just the way they did her cards and different things, bringing the different themes in there. If you play Gaston, you feel big and strong, and you just have that kind of theming going on. Very cool, very fun. Love this game. Who's this game for? This is going to be a game that if you enjoy the head-to-head tactical nature, this is for you. You like figuring out good card combinations, balancing your deck, balancing your characters, getting a good team composition together. This is going to fit that for you. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and make sure you check out some of the videos that are going to show up on the end screen. I got a Cozy Sticker Bill that's coming out. Got a bunch of top 10s that have been put up on the channel at this point. Go ahead and check those out. Got a lot of fun stuff. Hope to see you on the next one. Until then, have fun battling it out with your favorite Disney characters and stay awesome.